Hey everyone, this is Donkey Kong 64. You might notice that my video quality is really shitty and that I haven't been streaming for a while because, like a dipshit, I went and broke my actual computer. I'm currently using my older PC that I've not touched since early Season 3, so it's got a little bit of cobwebs on it. I actually had to take the video card and some of the RAM from my current rig to put into this one so that it'd be powerful enough to even run a few basic things. I mean, this computer was already 9 years old to begin with, so it's on its last leg. So right now I'm searching a new motherboard. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So it's probably going to be a month before I get that rallied together. I have had like a donation page set up for the past couple months because this is something I've had planned. Well, not me actually breaking my computer, but I've been meaning to get a new motherboard for the past couple of months already. And then I go and fucking spill something on top of my tower and kill it myself. So that's where I am right now. But if any of you guys want to help me out or anything, there is on my stream. There's a little donation tab and everything, and anything will help right now because after just going to ASEN a couple weeks back, and the fact that I have so many things going on this summer with friends and family and engagements, it's going to be difficult for me to save up money to get a motherboard. Although I can probably get it within a month's time from now, but it's be a stretch and brace then, so any help would be appreciated. But after that, let's move on and discuss the patch that's just come out with a lot of interesting things on the way. First off, Echo, the boy who shadowed time, will be released a little bit later in this patch, and he's a AP burst mage that has a lot of promise, honestly. I mean, his Q functions in a way very similar to Gnar, where it deals damage and, well, it's like Sivir, where it deals damage both to and from, but it's like Gnar, where it also slows at the same time, so it has the best of both features, where it's a double damage nuke and a slow. The fact that he has such a long-range slow ability, which can turn into a fucking stun because it's your after image that actually hits the freaking shot. And the fact that he has a built-in gap closer that applies so much fucking burst. His passive, which applies so much percentage-based damage and also gives him a speed boost and gives the opponent a slow if it's a champion. I mean, he has so much fucking, I think, innate ability to be a game maker. Like a game changer, really, for the meta. The fact his ultimate 2 gives him that massive burst with that 1.2 AP ratio, and it's like, hey, you need to keep an eye on, because that's what they haven't done yet, because I haven't played him in the PvE. I don't know if the other team can see his after image. I mean, can you? Because that would be a little bit easier for the enemy team saying, alright, stay the fuck away from this second guy right here. But if you can never see his after image, that can be fucking that can be torturous. Just thinking to yourself, are we standing in the middle of his burst right now? Because again, with the 1.2 AP ratio, it gets some pretty good damage as the game goes on. Anyways, Echo looks fun. Want to play him when he comes out. So we'll see what goes on. So, let's take a look at a bit of the patch. Akali. The change they did to her dash in the last patch was kind of stupid in regards to the fact that it would dash you to 250 range. 250 range if you didn't have a target marked, which is more than melee attack range. So after you dash onto someone, you couldn't fucking hit them with an auto attack to even set off your Q. Because, I mean, okay, so it's 250 if you had them unmarked. I'm getting a little bit excited. But it's 150, it was 150 if you had them marked. And a melee's attack range is like what? 125? Maybe 175? I know it's within that range. So you're very close to the hitting them. But that means if they just move a fucking inch, just a small stutter step, they're basically outside of your attack range. So you couldn't actually hit them and proc it. So now they're like, you know what? We kind of made a mistake here. So they reduced the maximum pass through to 200, which is still outside attack range. auto attack range, but they reduced it to 100 if it's marked, so you basically have a better chance of queuing, dashing, and hitting the target. Cassiopeia getting a well-deserved nerf at 100 stacks with our passive. Her Twin Fang heals for a flat amount still, but less ability power, so a small nerf right there. And she gets about half the mana effectiveness actually if she kills a target with Twin Fang, so that's actually pretty good, because that means she's not as efficient in the lane at conserving mana as long as she's last hitting with that. The Fat Man getting hit with the Body Slam. They're reducing both the end collision radius and the moving collision radius, so basically he has trimmed down a little bit. Fat Man's not nearly as fat. Jinx, they nerfed her early game power by basically making so her whole switcheroo, the attack speed steroid she would get, is not as innately powerful early on. I mean, the fact that you hit level 9 and you have 130% attack speed bonus, that was huge. That was so big that's why she would just crush turrets even with just like one item, because you had the attack speed just to get through it. But now they made it so with every single level you get some innate extra attack speed with your switcheroo, and the flat number has actually been dropped. But that means late game, you are actually even stronger. You actually get 10% more attack speed late game. So once you hit 16, you're even. 17, 18, you're stronger. Karma, they're giving her a little bit extra love right now. Taking away some of her damage, but increasing more of the utility. So I guess they're trying to make her, again, more of a support champion again, or maybe like an utility top laner or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I liked Karma originally, like a year back, where she actually could just fucking chunk people down, and then by late game you had this super support, but I don't know. I still think she's trash. Zenith Blade getting hit with the width of the skill shots, so it's 70 instead of 90, which I think is actually not bad, because she was able to hit so many Zenith Blades, even if she wasn't directly on the target. It just had such give on what it would take. So that's actually kind of a good thing. I think it'll show the better Leonas apart from just the good Leonas. Lulu is getting more of an early game help, because I don't know. I honestly don't know why. I think Lulu's in a decent spot. I mean, she's obviously not top tier, but I don't think she's hurting at all. But basically, they're increasing her base mana regeneration, but her mana regeneration per level has got dropped a little bit. So that's how they're balancing it out. Rek'Sai, nerf the health. Rise. Okay. So when Rise was first reworked, I played 12 fucking games in a row as Rise. Granted, these were all, like, the first 9 of them, or 10 even, were all like customs or normals, team builders, just trying to figure out, alright, how the fuck do you play this new Rise? Because one, your main source of damage, which was always his Q, it's now a skill shot, so you can't... Granted, they increased the range, so it's basically like an Ezreal Q, which, in one regard, I think it's actually pretty nifty. It's like, alright, it's an Ezreal Q, but now it's magic-based. Cool. But that was always your primary source of damage. It's what you max first. But if your opponents could always just hide behind waves, it just didn't feel right. But granted, his E is actually massive for harassing opponents standing by waves. So that I felt was a decent balance. But the fact that they nerfed all the mana ratios on all of his abilities, and even the AP ratios got nerfed a little bit too, except for his Q. I'm just like, alright, you changed how he works, and you nerfed all of his ratios. And even for some, they nerfed some of the base damage too. I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing with Rise? So, despite all this, I did so many fucking builds with Rise, tinkering around. A buddy of mine, we spent like 3 games going back and forth, mirror match Rise, trying different builds to see what was the most optimum. And the most optimum one we found was one without a tier. It's like you go Roa into Haunting Guys and into like Rylai's, where you turned into this massive AP bruiser. So when you did get your Arcane Mastery passive off and pop your ultimate, you're just AoE slowing every motherfucker around. and you just outlast people that way. But they're giving him some love, increasing his passive supercharged duration to 6 seconds at all ranks instead of 3, so you have a larger window to actually try to trade, rather than it's like, okay, fuck, I need to trade now, or I just wasted my passive, and it's gone. They're increasing the base damage to overload, which I think is necessary, because it does not... None of his abilities have good ratios. It's really bad. I mean, the only thing that makes Rise capable of dishing out damage is when you do pop your passive. And then you're just like a fucking machine gun. Then you're like the Rise of old, where you had the whole rotation of like Q, R, Q, E, W, Q, and you just completely obliterate people. Like, there was a fucking rotation, but now it's just simply, oh, I have my passive up, and you just button mash. He's turned into the fucking Katarina, or the Sona, or the Skarner, where you just button mash. I don't know, I still think Rise is terrible now. I mean, they try to change him so he can fit more with the current, like, how the playstyle, how League is changing. It was like, I don't know, you didn't need to do that. I think old Rise was still okay. You just need to maybe tweak some numbers, not completely rework how he plays. Sejuani, nerf to Northern Winds. Groovy. Honestly, I don't mind the whole tank meta. Primarily because this is the first time that support tanks have been completely relevant since Season 2. The time when we had the Skarner jungle, the Maokai, the Ali jungle, the Nunu jungle. Granted, Nunu is still popular now. But those were all your junglers that were most relevant, most adored, played, seeked after, sought after, were the tanky support junglers. People who provided CC that were not item reliant. They just needed some aura items and they could do their job. It's been since Season 2. We went 2 whole seasons where all the junglers were either fighters, assassins, stuff of that nature, where they were more early game bullies, playmakers early on. So I'm okay with Cinderhulk being around for a while. It's time for the tanks to have their chance. Scion, fixing a bug with Unstoppable Onslaught, whatever. Gems. Imbue, now costs less mana. Cool. Ancient Coin, they're making it more valuable, where the gold collection range is about 300 range more, and you get more gold for every single rank of it, including more health back and mana regeneration. Honestly, I think these were good changes, because right now, there was no reason to ever pick up an Ancient Coin unless you were paired up, you were in a lane where you could just shove without being punished. So, I mean, if you were with not so much a Sivir. Sivir can shove very easily, so that's maybe. But if you had like a Caitlyn who can just always keep pressure on the lane and keep peacemaking the lane away and just shoving, then yeah, it was good. But otherwise, I mean, the Talisman, as good as Talisman was, it was replaced by Righteous Glory, basically. It does the same thing, and it applies a Randuin charge at the end of it. I mean, I don't know. And either they need to change Righteous Glory, or they need to change Talisman. One or the other. Alright, no one cares. Cutlass, Blade of the Rune King, and Banner Command. They increased the cast range on all of these. Support Tree. Changing some of the support utility masteries, not support, utility masteries, so that they are more desirable for certain characters, even supports primarily, but not bad. Super minions now have negative 30 magic resistance instead of 40. Interesting. Leashing, blah 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 blah, Mark Dash, da 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 da. Anyways, it's been a while. I'm probably gonna be gone until maybe even July. It could take that long. But anyways, thanks for watching, folks. I miss you all, and don't worry. The first member of the DK crew will be back.